Okay, so guys, we're live. Hey everyone, welcome to week 3 to the live broadcast. I'm Dr. Baker, and I'm joined here with my co-teacher, Dr. Collier.
Hi everyone.
And my 3 amazing team leads, Brianna Hodges.
Hello.
And Sheila.
Hi there.
And Tammy.
Hello.
And we're thrilled to be here. We've actually been on for about 30 minutes chatting before we went live. Let me take a second just to check in with the back channel, make sure you all can hear us and see us, and then we'll get started. So I see on the back channel we have quite a few folks joining us already. So hey Michelle, hey Tiffany, hey Sherry, hey Tricia, hey Cassie, hey Denise, hey Susan. Good to see you guys on here. I hope that we'll answer a lot of the questions that you had from last week with regard to the course. So can I get a yes on the back channel just to make sure that you guys can hear us and see us? And I think there's a lag. There's a time lag, so we might have to wait just a second to see it. Rachel says all good. Okay, cool. Thank you, Aubrey. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Cheryl. Great. So let's dive into some of the questions that were posed last week. And I want to kind of tackle some of the logistical type questions that came in first related to the course, and then we'll dive into some of the content related questions. So I almost forgot, I want my team leads to quickly give you a short introduction of themselves. Sorry about that, guys. If you'll start with, Brianna, if you'll start.
Okay, well, I'm Brianna Hodges, and I just left the classroom, I guess, about 3 weeks ago as a 7th grade writing teacher, and am transitioning into the digital learning integration specialist for Stephenville ISD, and I'm finishing up my master's, my last classes here in the summer, and set to graduate on August 8th with an ID&T major, and I'm super excited and keeping my eye on the prize for all of that, and I'm team lead for Team Ignite, and all you Team Ignite people out there represent what. We're so excited that you're here. So there you go.
Good deal. Okay, Sheila?
Well, I am about to graduate with the Master's in Instructional Design and Technology, too, and so I'm really excited about that. And I've learned so much in this program, I can't say enough about it. It's just been wonderful. And I've taught pre-K through 5th grade, all subjects. I'm teaching 5th grade science right now, and I like incorporating all these technology tools and strategies that we've been learning about and helping others do the same.
Very good. Thank you, Sheila. How about you, Tammy?
I'm Tammy Lifesti, and I will graduate in August as well with a degree in instructional design and technology, and I've learned a lot during this program as well. I'm a special education teacher in Weatherford ISD.
Very good. Yeah, I noticed all of you, like, you know, graduation is like at the forefront of your mind. Brianna's like, I know the date, I know the time, I'm going to be there. And I see lots of folks on the back channel congratulating you guys, and I'm very proud of you as well. All right, so let's dive into some of the logistical questions related to the course, because I know that's sort of at the forefront of the students' minds right now. And I wanted to first kind of look at some of the panic that's been caused by you not seeing your tweet in the feed in Blackboard. And so don't panic too much about that. That's typical of new Twitter users. Twitter wants to make sure that you're a real person and not a robot before it allows your tweets to actually show up in search. So there's some strategies that I'll post in the virtual hallway with regard to how to get your tweets to show up, how to show Twitter that you're a legitimate person. But one thing you can always do is email Dr. Collier or myself, and we can retweet your tweet, and then it shows up in the feed because it recognizes us. That also shows Twitter that someone's retweeting your tweet, and therefore you're probably a real person. So if you're having issues with Twitter, just go ahead and email Dr. Collier or myself. I had quite a few questions about how do I, and this was from your experiment from week 2, you wanted to know how do you archive a Hangout. And the answer is there's a difference between Hangouts and Hangouts on Air. So what we're using right now is Hangouts on Air, and that allows you to broadcast live. And it also records your broadcast. There's not a way to record a Hangout that I know of, but what you can do is start a Hangout on Air. Don't send it to the public. Don't make it public. Just send it to whoever you're going to be hanging out with. And then when they join you, you can start the broadcast. It's not going to broadcast to anybody because you didn't make it public, but it is going to archive with the recording on your YouTube channel. So hopefully that helps you make a little bit of sense of that. Have any of you tried that, team lead?
I did. I actually did that with, Dr. Baker will probably remember, I did that with, I had a guest speaker from California could talk to one of my classes, and he could only talk to an hour-long period, and so we flipped it and archived it, and it was actually kind of intense because he works for an entertainment company, and so we had all these like rules about him leaking information and all this kind of stuff, and so we had like super hush-hush privatized anyway, so that was great, but it worked awesome, and then we were able to play it through YouTube for the rest of my classes. So if you are trying to think about Google Hangouts and how to utilize that, I know several of my team talked about that, about having guest speakers who could only be available for certain times, and this feature is fantastic for being able to repurpose that talk throughout the day for your other classes.
Great example. You know, another thing that I thought of too, so let's say you want to show you want to do some demonstration-based content, so you want to show your screen and demonstrate something on your computer and record it. You could also do that in a broadcast as well, just by yourself. So you start the broadcast, you share your screen, you talk through it, you show what you want to show, and then you end the broadcast, and it's archived on your YouTube playlist, and you can make that private. So lots of different variations of ways you can use broadcast and not really broadcast. Okay, quite a few questions came in from, so Everly from Knowledge Seekers and Susan from Innovators, and quite a few others want to know where are the Hangout broadcasts stored or archived in our class. And there's actually a folder at the very bottom of the first page that you log into of our course, and it's called Archived Hangouts. And so all of the broadcasts will be stored there. Let me just check into the back channel. So Cheryl wants to know, where's Kyle? Everybody wants to see their own team leads. So my team leads are very, very, very busy people, and so not only are they doing this capstone team lead experience, but they're taking other courses. They're developing trainings for their district. They're doing lots of different things. So I didn't want to require all of them to come to every Hangout. So they got to pick the dates that they wanted to do it. So that's where Kyle is tonight. Let's see. Okay, I want to just address, Denise has a question about Evernote, and she says Mary does too. Okay, how does Evernote compare with Google Drive? Okay, similar. Actually, no. I would say they're two different things, unless I'm misunderstanding your question, Mary. So Evernote is sort of a way to store and curate information that you come across on the internet. And you can access that information across devices. Google Drive is more, let's see, Google Drive is not necessarily a content curation tool. It's more of a collaboration tool. So it allows you to share documents and edit in real time and that kind of thing. So does that kind of answer your question, Mary and Denise? And there's a lag, so let me know if it doesn't, and I'll come back to it. Okay, so let's see. Let's move on. I think one other thing is related to your key point documents, and I just wanted to let you know I put an example in the week 3 module under the key point section it's basically just an example of a group that did really, really well on their key points. So it'll give you a good idea of what we're looking for there. Okay, so that's it for logistical questions, and thank you, Denise, for answering. I'm glad that helped, and if you need more clarification, I'm happy to do so after. Let's move on, guys, to communication and collaboration tools. So Lorraine Starks has a great question. She's from Team Innovators, and she wants to know, what is microblogging, and is it the same as Twitter? And we kind of talked about this before, so I'm going to pitch this out to the team leads. So, so do you think microblogging is the same as Twitter?
Well, Twitter is a form of microblogging. It's a tool that you use for microblogging. And microblogging is just where you do a very short message, like Twitter.
Right. So microblogging is just a condensed version of content. So traditional blogs are long monologues of text that can be archived by topic on the right-hand side. And our conversation about what it is microblogging is much shorter, condensed pieces of content. So like Sheila mentioned, Twitter is one tool. What were some others that we talked about, guys? Instagram?
Tumblr,
Yeah, Instagram.
Pinterest.
Mm-hmm. There's some blog sites that are nothing but memes. Those funny pictures, you know, with the text on top. So it's just short content. And so I guess the answer to the question is that microblogging is not the same as Twitter. Like Sheila said, Twitter is a tool to microblog. Microblogging is just a form of a blog. So I hope that answers your question, Lorraine. That's a good one from Team Innovators. Okay, Sherry has, again from Team Innovators, how are these tools being used for pre-K through second grade students? And I've picked up a lot of questions about this as well for LMSs, but any of these tools, I think I can sense a little bit of apprehension from teachers that teach lower grade levels with regard to using these tools. So Sheila, would you mind kind of addressing how you've done that at the pre-K through fifth grade level?
I taught lower grades previously, and I've used some of these tools like in second, third, fourth grade, and sometimes you might just use them as a whole class situation, like you could do a hangout as a whole class, but also there are a lot of tools that are just really easy to use that younger students can use very easily, like Sock Puppets, that's an app for iPad, and Voki is another one. That's a web-based tool. Padlet is another really easy app that they could use, and really just modeling for them, and maybe you know, doing one together the first time, and then having them work in groups and just kind of floating around and helping them. It really can be done. It's being done, and you know, kids get so excited about it. And believe it or not, they know a lot more than you think they do already, because I mean, they've grown up using iPads and iPhones since they were teeny tiny, so they just pick it right up a lot easier than we do.
Yeah, I agree with that. And Brianna had a really good point about using it at even in grades where you think they don't have the skills. And what was your suggestion there, Brianna?
Well, I mean, this is for, you know, for lower grades as well as for a lot of our districts out there that struggle with access to technology, that maybe you don't have enough of it in your classroom to really be able to pump this up the way that you'd like. But taking the concept of the tool and exposing the kids to the concept. So whether it's doing 140 characters Twitter style, I've done Twitter style book reports, or as exit tickets or different things like that, so that they are familiar with the concept and the concision and all of that stuff. And then when they get into older grades, then they get their hands on the tools, and then it becomes more familiar to them as they kind of move forward. One of the other things that I've seen a lot with the younger grades, my son just finished up with kindergarten, and they did a lot of fluency practice where they would read and record themselves and then pass it, just on a single iPad. They would just read a little block of text and read it out loud and record themselves and then pass it to the next person in their group, and that person would read and record. And so they were able to pass off and learn in a group environment and still kind of maintain their fluency as they go through it. So there's tons of opportunity out there for the little kids. It might not necessarily be every one of them grabs a device in their hand and starts tweeting out what they're going to do, but it may be more for, like we were talking about, that whole group instruction or small group instruction, utilizing those things. I think there's a tool that's called Croak-It that I've heard, like croak, like a ribbit frog croak, that is really useful in the lower grades. And I've seen some really cool, if you just go out and Google it, there's some really cool things where they are doing the fluency feedback and pass along their information using that.
Great examples, thank you. And I'll just say really quickly too, if you're apprehensive about using any tools with younger students because of you don't have the skill sets, an argument for that is, how will they learn 21st century skills if we don't start somewhere? And so I think a lot of times the apprehension is on the teacher side, and if you again go through the strategic process of implementing a tool, it may tank or it may go beautifully, but you take it one tool at a time, and that's how you find tools that are relevant and meaningful in your class. Lorraine had a question, a request on here for us to post the names of all these apps and things that we're throwing out there. So I hadn't heard of Croak-It. Yeah, hadn't heard of that one. So yes, Lorraine, we'll post it to the virtual hallway. So Sheila, if you'll remind me of the ones you talked about too, we'll get it posted there. All right, let me check in over here. Looks like Kayla posted some really good examples of tools that she uses too, so I'll go through the back channel transcript and pull from there as well. Thank you for posting that. As well as, yeah, Tanya, it looks like she posted some cool stuff too. All right, let's move on to questions about, we kind of covered motivating and inspiring others, and we're gonna hit on this in week 5. There's a module on being a teacher leader and spurring change in your school. So you're gonna have a whole module just on this topic, but I had a few. So for example, from Carmen, from Team Collaborators, what's the best way to politely and respectfully inspire a fellow teacher who's resistant to using technology? And so I have some thoughts on this, but Brianna, you're about to take a position where I bet you're going to run into some resistance, just because there's always resistance. So what do you have to say with regard to that?
I think it's kind of funny because in my own classroom, I have always worked with my students on being adventuresome with their learning and just kind of taking their own passions and kind of driving it. So I've always shown the Google 1 minute commercial, the Apple 1 minute commercial of "Here's to the Crazy Ones," and I always kind of keep that in mind. I think there are those of us who become very passionate about educational technology because we see how it is going to be possible for us to really move our students and our children into 21st century success, and so we kind of are willing to try and succeed and fail miserably and get up and go over it over and over again, but there are definitely those around us who have had a lot of success without technology, and so they see technology as kind of a it's very confrontational to them and intimidating to them because it's different from what they've had. And so I think the big thing is just the first thing that I'm going to try to remind myself of is that that you're not telling somebody that they're teaching it the wrong way. but instead you're trying to find things that are going to help you be successful. So my big thing that I try to remember is that you're not trying to take away the cool things from these teachers that they love, that they're successful with, that they've always done. I always try to find what is it that you hate the most about your job, like what just is the bane of your existence as a teacher, and then can you find because if it's horrible to you, it's horrible to your students. And if you can make that exciting and wonderful and utilizing technology to make them embrace it, then you see your students light up. And if you can get that teacher to see their students light up that way, then that's a huge win for technology on that side. So I think it's just, giving them just those tiny little breadcrumbs of keep going and find success, and then move forward with it, and don't be afraid to fall, because we're all going to fall. I mean, every single one of us has had the epic technology fail. If I planned it out perfectly and then nothing worked and it was a colossal mess. I've had it happen in the middle of evaluations before. I mean, all those kind of things. But you just smile and you find a different way to do it, and that either makes us crazy or it makes us successful, or whatever the case may be. But I would say that that's the biggest thing, is just kind of encourage them and inspire them and model that success and failure and success and perseverance and persistence. So
absolutely. Yeah, so the other thing I would say, too, is find people on your campus like Brianna. So if you have support people in place that are there with an attitude like hers, it really can spur change in your school. If you have support people who are more barriers than, empowerers, it can make all the difference in the climate and the tone that teachers take on. So the other question that came in is sort of kind of on the flip side of this, and it came from Sharon on Knowledge Seekers. How do you address when a student is suffering technical difficulties or apprehension about using a tool? And so what do you think there? And I haven't run into too many. I have actually run into students who are apprehensive and who have technical issues, and I know how I try to help them. But what do you guys think are some good strategies?
I ran into this with my 7th graders this year. They asked me, can we please just make a poster? I mean, they wanted to just do it in the old-fashioned way, and for them it was because their comfort level was with that, and so they knew how to do it. And there's a lot of research and information out there about students who are really good at playing school because they're comfortable with their expectations, and I think that that's what rolls into that. But it's kind of this exact, like you said, Dr. Baker, that this is a really good tie-in, because the more that they saw their fellow students experimenting with it and doing really cool things, then they asked them, hey, how did you do that? And can you show me how to make, you made your own cartoon, how did you do that? And can you show me how to do that? And then it just kind of, ignited a spark throughout everything, and they kind of built from there.
I think another thing is that modeling is important, and one thing that I've learned through my technology courses is that there are tons of great tutorials for just about any tool that you want to use. You can just Google it or get on YouTube, and so you don't have to reinvent the wheel, but just showing them how to do it, maybe doing one together the first time, I think that helps a lot too.
Show them how they can be creative with it, and show them fun stuff about it too, to make them more interested in it, and they'll want to try to use it then. Looks like we lost Dr. Baker again, Holly.
Yes, so, and I was kicked out. I don't know, Dr. Baker, it looked like our computers just kind of shut down.
Yeah, I'm back in. Can you guys see and hear me?
Yep.
I see you.
Okay, let's check in with our back channel, and I'm actually not going to click on anything because I'm afraid my computer. Holly, can you check into the back channel and see?
Yes, There was an interesting question that came through. It's from Sherry, and she says, how do you use Google in elementary grades since they can't have their own Google accounts until they're 13?
So how do you let the kids Google?
Like, how do you set them up with a Gmail account?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll tell you my personal workaround for that, and I think it depends upon what it is that you're wanting to do. But like for consumption type platforms, so like Animoto or Prezi, those kind of things, you can use with Gmail. There's this really neat. I don't even know if Gmail even realized that they were doing this when they created it or whatever the deal was, but you can take your email address. And so, like, if mine is Brianna Hodges at Gmail, then you can take Brianna Hodges +1 at Gmail, and you can build accounts with the +1, and it will allow them to sign for the account with that, or for the platform with that account. But then it will keep you informed. It basically utilizes your email for it, and so that was a great way to give them their own sign-ins without actually putting them at risk for being under 13 and utilizing the platform. So I don't know if that answered your question exactly, but that was my way to get my kids access without having them truly accessing a Gmail account.
We're going to actually be covering, so in week 4, so safety and security issues and online privacy, and that's all part of teaching digital citizenship and 21st century skills, is teaching students how to be safe online. But workarounds like that are very smart. Tammy, I know you mentioned that Weatherford is going to Google Apps for Education next year.
Yes.
So that's the district's way of basically generating accounts that are still on the district's domain, but that can leverage the Google platform. And so I know you user, Tammy, of it just with special ed, and so I suspect you're going to have some leadership in rolling it out to the whole district. But if you're asking about safe searching on Google, there is, in week 4, I believe, we have a module on filtering. So you can filter by by date. You can filter out any kind of explicit content. There's a way for you to set up your own custom search engine. So we're going to cover all that in week 4. I wasn't sure if that was the original question, but I love the workaround idea with the accounts, Brianna. That's pretty cool. Okay, so we've got about 4 minutes left. So when I got kicked out, we were talking about students and technical difficulties and apprehension. Did we kind of address that?
I think so.
Okay. The only thing that I wrote there was always have a plan, just like you were talking about. Things go wrong, so it's always good to have a backup plan. Work with your partner or your neighbor. So if your computer crashes, look on with your neighbor, that kind of thing. Okay, so let's move on to some of the instructional design questions that came in. So Jacob from Team Ignite, Brianna, wanted to know, how is teaching an online class compared to taking an online class? And Tammy, I'm going to let you tackle this one because you've been, you've seen now from the student side, and all of you have really, because you've taken this course from the student side. But now that you've kind of seen this from the instructor side, facilitating a course of this size, what are some differences that you see, or that maybe some misconceptions you had about teaching an online class?
Well, it's definitely given me a greater appreciation for the professors and everything that they have to do on the backside to get it ready to roll out and get everything ready for the students. And I know, like, you have everything ready ahead of time. Like, since you're going to be leaving soon for maternity leave, you've got everything already done, and it's just set to roll out on the dates that it's supposed to roll out on. So you can get everything set up ahead of time and get it out when it's supposed to be out then.
Yeah, the content piece, that's the fun part for me, is developing the content and designing. And then facilitating is fun too. But so what would you guys say, with regard to communicating with students and the facilitation part of teaching online versus maybe if you saw them in class, every week?
Well, it's really important to develop relationships and doing the things like we've been doing with the Leno bulletin board and some of the other, the communication within Google Plus, those kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really important since you don't really see each other.
Right, building that class community.
Yes.
For me, it's important that if I get an email from somebody or somebody has a question for me, that I get back to them as quickly as I can. And I've been trying to be diligent in the Google Plus community to make sure that my presence is there too. Because I know from the student side, posting something and then never hearing anything back, or sending an email and not hearing anything back, is hard for me. And I don't want my students to feel that way about me. That I want them to know that I'm there and that I am there to answer questions that they have.
Right. Yeah, you definitely don't want learner isolation in an online class, because you are missing that face-to-face element. So you want more presence as opposed to learner isolation. So you guys are doing a great job as team leads, and I can't see the back channel anymore, but you guys were getting kudos earlier, all of you. So okay, we have time for one more question. And this actually was not a question, it's just a tip from Mary of Knowledge Seekers. So she recently found out her district's not going to allow her to use Facebook, but she was diligent and found an alternative, and she's actually using Google Classrooms, which is sort of Google's learning management system answer, but she says it behaves a lot like Facebook, and she's really enjoying it. So thanks for sharing that with us, Mary, and we'll post that link to the virtual hallway as well. So we tried to tackle all the questions that came in, but if we didn't get to your question, please follow up with us, and we will we'll try to address it for you. 30 minutes.
Oh. And she got kicked out again.
She was serious about that 30 minutes right there. Done.
I think she was trying to say 30 minutes is not a lot of time to answer all of those questions.
Right.
Uh-oh, I think we might have lost Holly too. Oh.
Sorry, I'm back.
Okay.
I will just quickly say, because it's about time to wrap it up, that I am due to have a baby on Saturday. And so if he comes on time, I won't be here for week 4 and 5, but Dr. Collier's got everything under control. Your team leads are amazing. I have every bit of confidence that the rest of the course will go good. And so just know, communication-wise, my presence probably won't be as intense during week 4 and 5 because of this little guy that's coming. But I did want to mention that, and maybe he'll come late and I'll actually get to participate almost to the end, but I kind of doubt it.
You don't want that.
Yeah, let's not wish that on you.
Thank you. All right, guys, so we're going to sign off, and thanks for participating in the back channel. Thanks for watching, and have a great week 3.